Welcome to this Creative Instinct podcast production made for the Cambridgeshire Recovery Service, one of a series made by people navigating their recovery journey, driven by people who have been there and recognise the way.
I suppose you could put me as a troubled child. You know, I had issues early on. I couldn't work out what to do, and within the family, I was always the odd one. You know, my mum and dad would say, "Look, he's a bit odd." So I was aware of probably my mental health at that time, the way I acted, and I'd done my first prison sentence at 15, which was detention centre, because of not going to school, just that rebellious stage. Detention centre was quite brutal. Then I'd done a Borstal sentence, but by that time I was drinking lots, you know, just become a problem drinker without knowing it, you know, just getting really drunk, and that involves getting in trouble, into a lot of police custody, which just led to loads of prison sentences. And the alcohol got that much, because with alcohol comes violence, doesn't it? For me, when it all come to a head, the trauma was from childhood sexual abuse, and that is quite a taboo subject. We know it goes on, but it's not spoken about, it's not talked about. And the issue was basically the person that committed the abuse was in the family, but it was something we never spoke about it, me and my mum, even though she knew it happened. So I know I'm skipping, but from sort of like 18 to 30, it was just total chaos. I couldn't get a grip of what actually happened, because with the PTSD, it keeps taking me back to being raped at 4. So for a 4-year-old, that would be a lot of trauma. I still picture when the door opened and he committed what he did. And then after that, I remember going to hospital. I was in hospital for a few weeks, but that was never ever mentioned. Basically, that 4-year-old, I can remember being happy, but then it was like someone chucking a hand grenade in the cot. And why would someone do that? You know, I can't, even at the age I am now, I can't comprehend how someone would do that to a child. Up to about a year ago, I used to see his face, but I can blank his face out now. I don't, you know, I don't know if he's alive or dead now, and basically I don't care. Because I felt so worthless that I could get drunk, I could behave like I wanted, you know, because basically I didn't care. So, you know, I used to be into like I keep saying, the violence and all that. That was an outlet, if you want. I learned from a young age that I was good at fighting. That was probably the only thing I was good at, you know, and to a point I quite enjoyed it. because I wasn't, I left school without no qualifications. I'd done the detentions, and I just thought, my life's going to be shit anyway. So you try and make a name for yourself in something else, which it's ridiculous, But I always had that in the brain saying, look, you're not good. There's something wrong here, And then when I got into the drugs, it just got so much hold of me that I was in a relationship. I had 2 children. I was working, but the drugs had got hold of me, and I was trying to hide it from the family. So to cut a long story short, one day my missus had had enough with the drug use. My mental health was, and I attempted suicide. It was quite public. I was on a roof. I hung myself from a TV aerial. When they cut me down, I was dead. The police were all there, everything. I was dead. I was in intensive care for a week. And I suppose that it took something like that to realise, my children, my daughter was 10, my son was 7. They were still in the house when I started chucking tiles and destroying the roof. And I can remember at one point the police said, can we let the children out? I was never going to hurt anyone. The only person I was going to hurt was me. And the children come out with their mother, and they had the police had told them to put the heads on their hands on their head. And I just thought, well, has it got to this point? Because I'd lost everything that day. What was important to me, my missus, my kids. And so, obviously I survived. Like I said, I had a week in intensive care fighting for my life. Then I had 3 weeks in a psychiatric unit. And looking back, that is one of the best things I've done in my life. Because that, for me, that old Terry died then. You've got to talk to people. You can't keep it, I suppose because of my upbringing and all that. I was always independent. I always thought I can do with whatever I want to. But then when you're a quaking wreck, I remember sitting in the park after I'd gone through all that with my kids and Ruth. And I sat down and I cried for about 6 months solid. I just couldn't stop crying. And I see 2 mates come walking and they see me crying. They turned around and went. And I thought, what? So, I suppose I was moving from a thug, basically, into some caring, feeling human being. And then you're like, wait a minute, what's happening here? I've lost 30, 40 people, that go to that, where they've got no self-belief, that they're not worth anything, and I don't agree with that, because everybody is. So to sort of sum it up, I've changed from a very dysfunctional, nasty person into somebody that cares. That's where that all comes from, that care and that love of people. I love life. It's precious, because when it's nearly taken away from you, that's... My daughter said it when I come out of a psychiatric unit. I thought she's going to be... and she went, you're an arsehole, Dad. She goes, we wouldn't have had a dad. And then that hit me. through my selfish actions. And I wouldn't have seen what she is today. I wouldn't have seen my grandchildren. I'd just have been, and that's not, no, and it's, my daughter and son, they both got good jobs, they've got good families, they've been nowhere near drugs, alcohol. My son's never been in trouble. So if that was my purpose to change it, then I'm quite glad to do that. Yeah.
Your story can help others, and we'd love to hear it. Wherever you've been, wherever you are, how you got there, whatever, it's up to you.